What you're describing is the end result of many years of offering a vibration. In other words, that's sort of the culmination that you've come to. This is how I feel in this situation. But we want to talk about what's at the basis of this, and we think in understanding this, it will be easier for you to let go of this. What is at the heart of that is the same thing that we talk about all day, every day, and that is I care more about how that person thinks and feels than I do about how I feel. In other words, it's like I've trained myself to live a certain way, and I'm very sensitive to the response I get from others as they observe me. And in doing that, I've completely disregarded my own vibrational gap. So I'm not guiding myself based upon how I feel in relationship to who I really have become. I'm guiding myself in relationship to what that person thinks and that person thinks and that person thinks. And the thing that's tricky about that is that the more you think that that one thinks what they think, and it might be right, you might have had a very critical, self-conscious person in your life early on that sort of taught you that way of thinking about yourself. In fact, you did. And so you learn that early on. But then what happens is law of attraction brings you another and another and another. And so it's not like you're making it up. You just keep attracting people that are also self-conscious. Every now and again, Esther will catch herself admiring someone who looks really, really good. Yesterday, they went to a lovely restaurant in a high-rise building, and there was a beautiful couple that shared the elevator with them. And the woman looked so good. She had on the cutest dress, and she had the cutest figure, and really a very nice hairdo. And as Esther looked at her, the woman looked away. And afterward, Esther commented to Jerry about it because Esther was appreciating how she looked and trying to formulate some words that she might express. But the woman clearly did not want to have an interaction. She was so self-conscious about the way she looked that she could not even let herself receive a compliment from someone who really wanted to give it to her, you see. The current was too strong for Esther to buck, and Esther felt bad that she was tongue-tied. She couldn't find the words, and we say to her, even if she had found the words, they would have fallen on deaf ears. The woman could not have heard the compliment because she was not in a place of receiving it, you see. And so what happens to you is that you just learn these habits of the way you think about everything. You think normal habits, you learn habits that become normal to you about the economy, about the way you look, about the way others look, about all kinds of things. So now, doesn't matter how long you've been there or how you got there. So now you say, I'm uncomfortable in this relationship that I have with other people or with what I think other people have. And we say, all you have to do is be aware of upstream thoughts and downstream thoughts. That's all. In other words, you're not going to change it all at once because you didn't get to feeling that way all at once. And there isn't anything that we could say to you or that anyone could say to you that would change the way you feel all of a sudden. You have to find ways of carving it out for yourself. So you just do it little by reaching for a better feeling thought. So Jerry and Esther had a discussion earlier today about a dysfunctional family. And then Esther said, I wonder what a functional family is. Because everybody has sort of dysfunction in one way or another in the way that the psychologists want to describe it. And then Jerry said something that we agree with wholeheartedly. We think it is a very wise observation. That functional family that psychologists are, they're usually not talking about the functional family, they're talking about the dysfunctional family. But on the other end of that stick, Jerry said, I wonder if that's a sort of myth. And we say, not so much a myth as it is an ideal. In other words, as you live unwanted things, you want this. And so you're all the time launching these rockets of how you think it would be better. And so as you live for a time in your body and you mix it up with other people and you wear some clothes and you are without your clothes and you are looking at your body and you're living in your body and you're feeling in your body and you're moving in your body, you've launched rockets of desires that have created, in the best way we can say it, this ideal body that is there waiting for you in vibrational escrow. And then when you do things that you believe are taking you or keeping you from going toward that, you feel uncomfortable about it. Or when you take score about where you are right now and pronounce to yourself, I'm not there. And so really, the answer to this is just trying to find words that make you feel better. So begin offering some of them. Now, we know that it is annoying to you when you make a comment about not looking the way you want to and someone else tries to counter it with a good-feeling comment. It doesn't feel good to you. In fact, it never satisfies you. In fact, you sort of puff up and give an even stronger statement of where you are. And so we want to leave all of them out because all they're trying to do is cheer you up, but they are inconsequential in your vibrational closing of the gap. So you just offer some words to us here about that are downstream comments about your physical body. And let us show you what we would do. So to say it could be worse is not all that soothing to you, really. So we didn't feel any movement in that. We think you've heard that from plenty of other people. Oh, there are people who would die to be in your body. What's wrong with you? But what their bodies and what they want have nothing to do with this because you've got this ideal. And that's the thing that people have a hard time understanding. There are a lot of people with what they call eating disorders who have those disorders because they're trying to achieve their ideal. And other people who, it's sort of like what we were talking about earlier. You can't know what somebody else wants and therefore you have nothing to say that is valid about what somebody else wants. So somebody telling you that you look just fine, that doesn't have anything to do with how you feel. You've got this gap between the ideal that you've created, and now this is what we meant earlier, and we really want you to hear this. If you don't stay up to speed with who you have become, you feel dissatisfied. So what we really want to say to you is, it's all right for you to be dissatisfied. That's like somebody saying, I have this idea for a theme park, and someone else saying, but you're gainfully employed. Why do you want a stupid theme park? And we say, they don't get to decide what it is that you want. Nobody gets to say your body looks the way it should, or now you have enough money. What do you want with more money? People will say to you. Why do you work so hard? What do you want with more money? And we say they don't have any way of knowing what will close your gap. So the first thing that we want you to say and feel and mean is that I get to decide what my ideal is, and when I am moving toward what that ideal is, then I feel good, and when I'm not, I don't feel so good. Doesn't that feel better to you than beating up on yourself about it? Now try to soften, try to say something that causes you to not paddle so hard upstream. Just try to say something. And there are plenty of people in this room that are annoyed by you looking so good and being so bothered. But they are part of that peanut gallery that we are not interested in hearing from. In other words, it does not matter what anybody else is thinking. What you want is what you want. So what we're saying to you, and you'll never be satisfied until you turn in the direction of what you want. And nobody on this earth or otherwise has the right or the ability to evaluate accurately for you the appropriateness of what you want. In other words, this is all about what you want and where you are in relationship to it. And what we want you to understand is you don't even have to get to the size that you want to be before you feel better. You just have to stop beating up on yourself for being otherwise. So, and you do that with words, not with any sort of action, and not with any sort of body change. The body change will come once you get in alignment. So try to say something that just makes you feel better. Nice to know that I get to choose. And it's nice to know that I am, for the most part, in control of the way my body looks. And while I don't exactly know what I'm going to do about this, I do know that I do have some measure of control, and I do like that. And frankly, I'm happy with the image that I have of myself. I'm happy with what I'm working toward, and I'm looking forward to figuring out how to get there. And while I don't know exactly how to accomplish it this red hot minute, I know that it's possible because I've been there. In fact, I've been there a lot. And so I think I'll just ease up on myself a little bit and try not to make this such a significant thing. And it's clear to me that the less I talk about it with others, the more I will have to defend my position to them. And I'm really kind of tired of defending my position to other people because I can't possibly make them understand. They can't begin to understand. I'm asking people to understand who can't understand. I think the first line of defense is going to be, I'm going to stop asking people to understand who can't understand. And, that makes me feel better just thinking about not asking somebody to understand who can't understand. I'm just not going to talk about it so much anymore. I'm going to talk about it a whole lot less. And I'm just going to keep maintaining that dream and that memory of who I can be and look forward to that time and feel easier about where I am. And just doesn't that feel better?
Much, much better.
So the energy has shifted. In other words, you've allowed, and now you may not stay there. You may be right back in a day or two thinking those thoughts, but now you know what to do. And it is our promise to you that what you're reaching for, and this is going to be a little hard to hear, but we want you to try to hear it anyway. What you're reaching for is moving with the stream of your desire, a very well-placed desire. There's nothing wrong with the picture you have of what you are wanting. So moving with the desire is what you're reaching for, not changing your bodily conditions. It's possible that once you get turned around here, in time, you're going to be perfectly happy with where you are, or maybe not. Maybe getting turned around is going to cause an effect on your physical body that will be more pleasing, but it's getting turned around that you're reaching for. We so much want you to hear it. It is not the physical change. It's not the more money that you want. It's the relief from not having enough money. It's not a better relationship you want. It's the relief from having a bad relationship. And the majority of that can be changed within a few days just by reaching for better feeling thoughts. Imagine an airplane in the sky. It's going 500 miles an hour, and it's high in the sky, 40,000 feet. And you're looking out the window and the landscape's going by and everything just seems nice. But if you put that same airplane on the ground at that speed, it would not feel so nice. And so we're talking about resistance. When your energy is moving fast and you begin to go with the flow, even if the stream's moving faster than you are, even if you're paddling a little bit in opposition, as you begin to let yourself move in the direction of the stream, the relief factor is viscerally obvious to you. And that's really what you're reaching for. We think you're reaching for the relief of that tension more than anything else. And when you achieve the release of tension, and when you let yourself, when your thoughts about your body begin to mesh with your dream about your body, now your body is as you dream it to be. And it happens with such ease that now you got a whole other set of problematic friends who say, it's just not fair. It's just not fair that you do that so easily when I have to struggle so hard to accomplish the same. And you say, please don't make me explain. I couldn't explain it. I just barely figured it out for myself. Just don't make me try to explain it. And in time, those who really want to know, Esther remembers going out to dinner years ago with this beautiful woman. There were several of them at the table. And this woman ordered 2 complete meals and ate them. And then she ate her dessert and everybody else's. And Esther said, how do you do that and look like that? And she said, food is my friend. Esther said, good, because you can't be mine. Just didn't seem right. But when you come into alignment with whatever it is you are wanting, when you come into alignment with your dream of anything, you have such resources from the universe assisting you that effortlessly you achieve it, you see. Effortlessly. Your effort and action is all meant to be the way you enjoy the creation that energy has created. You never, ever intended to create through action. There's not enough leverage in action to give you anything but a minuscule, paltry experience. And that's why there are a lot of people in what you call underdeveloped countries that are just not willing to put out that effort. They're happy. Good? Oh, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. We're happy when you have something really big going on. When you have a big thing happening and you feel relief from it, it feels so huge. But even when you have small things going on and you feel relief from it, that's satisfying too. In other words, your life is supposed to be good. And we expect that it will continue to get better and better. Minding my own business takes on a whole new form, doesn't it? Why would I want to mind my own business? Because it's the only business I have to mind. Why would I mess up my vibration by trying to mind everybody else's business? And how simple it is when I'm just minding my business to know where I am between that which I've become and that which I'm letting myself be. You getting that? You're getting that every feeling of discomfort is because your life has caused you to become something that you're not letting yourself get up to speed with? Doesn't it make sense? And when you do begin to let yourself get up to speed with it, even when you just try a little, even when you turn in the direction of it, life gets better.